Hello, students, and welcome back to the classroom. Tim back here from Lessons on the Web once again. I hope you enjoy being back at the classroom with me. Today, I am just answering your questions here in the live chat for our live streams. If you're interested in attending our live streams, they are Fridays and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're subscribed, well, if you're not subscribed, subscribe first of all. But if you are already subscribed, make sure you smash that bell. It's next to the subscribe button. It's like a notifications button. And then YouTube will let you know whenever we meet live so you can come join us. So make sure you hit that. But let's get right onto it and get started. First question I'm going to address is how to practice block chords. If that is right, I feel like I definitely have a lesson on this, but I can't quite think of what it is right now. So how I would practice your block chords is like this. So actually, I'm thinking of a Facebook video I did. It's not here on YouTube. But anyway, so let me switch cameras here. How I would tackle this is what I would do is I would start out with these three major chords. C major. And the way you want to do is each day you want to play the chord and say the three notes that make up that chord, C, E, and G. That'll help ingrate it in your mind, because once you start dealing with chord inversions, even though they're not in the same order, you still want to know that it's the notes C, E, and G. It's just a slightly different order to it. Now, so C, E, G, practice that maybe for a couple of minutes, and then you also want to learn F major, made the notes F, A, and C. Again, say out loud the name of the chord or the letters that make up the chord when you play it. The third one I would learn is G major, G, B, and D. The reason I have you learn these three first are that they are all white key chords. So maybe the first day you just want to say, okay, C major, C, E, G, F major, F, A, C, G major, G, B, D. On day 2, practice these three chords, and then go through those as many times as it takes to get them memorized. Learn these three chords next. D major, made up of D, F sharp, A. And then I would learn A major, made up of the notes A, C sharp, E. And then E major, made up of E, G sharp, B. So the second day, practice those three. I would stick to 3 a day, even if you can pretty much learn them all in one day, because if you learn them a little bit at a time, it'll help clarify any confusion or help alleviate any confusion that may have, because if you try to learn them all at once, you may start to get it mixed up in your head as to which ones they are. So learn those 3 second. Third, I would learn, let's see here, I would learn B major, because that one is a bit strange. B, D sharp, F sharp. And just remember that B major is unique in that it has 2 sharps up top. Then the other kind of tricky one is F sharp major, made up of the notes F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. And then practice this one, C sharp major, made up of C sharp, E sharp, G sharp. So on day 3, learn those 3. And then on day 4, learn these 3. F major, made up of F, A, C. B flat major, made up of B flat, D flat, or B flat, D, F, and E flat major. And then on day 5, I would learn A flat major, D flat major, and any of the other ones I haven't talked about yet. And G flat major. Now you may be saying, well, hey, G flat major looks a lot like F sharp major, and they're supposed to. They're called enharmonic equivalents. The difference is that before the notes were F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, this time they're G flat, B flat, D flat, because we're actually going from G down. And then the last one you want to learn is a C sharp or C flat major chord, which is actually really just a B major chord, except the notes are really C flat, E flat, and then G flat. So go through that. I would spend maybe a week just learning the majors, then do the same for the minors. I'm not going to get into those right now because I do want to get to other questions, but that's where I would start. Okay, back to the piano. So let's improvise something on the C minor pentatonic scale. Let's go over what that is first. You have C, E flat, F, G, and then B flat, C. A pentatonic scale, as the name suggests, has 5 notes in it. like the I guess if you are familiar with music theory, I'm gonna explain it this way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's the tonic, and then you have a flat median, and then you have subdominant, dominant, flat seven, or subtonic, I believe, back to tonic. Now it looks like there are 6 notes, but that's because we repeat the bottom and the top note. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are our 5 main notes we're working with, plus, up at the octave. So when I'm starting out learning how to improvise, what I would do is I would quite simply, play maybe a chord on the left hand while playing just the scale from beginning to end up on the right hand. And then maybe change chords down at the bottom. That's all I did. I played up and down the scale, and you can do it with different rhythms to see what sounds good. And then what I started to do there, but this is actually the next step, is start to play the notes out of order. Now, to play it safe, I would start on one of these 3 notes. I'd start on the C, the first note, the E flat, which is actually the second note up on the scale, G, which is actually the third note up on the scale. Start up on one of those just as a precaution, because if you start on the F, it actually sounded pretty good, but you run into the risk of it not sounding right. If you stick to one of those 3 notes in the C minor chord, then it will sound good most of the time. And then you just want to play up and down the scale and then jump notes in the scale. It takes a lot of practice on your own, actually, noodling around to figure out what sounds good. And actually what you find sounds good might not be the same things I do. But how I got good at this is I just did it day in and day out for many days at a time. Now, teacher told me what I'm telling you now, the general gist of what you're trying to get out of it. But you just want to, the key is to practice it every day. So the next step, like I said, is to play the notes out of order a little bit. So there you go. And then from there you can try playing it in harmony. So you can play, instead of playing the notes separately, you can play them in combination. Whoops. Whoops. I would try it like that. So that's just to get you started. I could go into this a lot more, but that I would actually have to save that for a whole nother lesson, because I do want to get to some of the other questions. We're getting a lot of questions here, which I think is amazing. So again, whether it's your first time out here or you're a new and returning student, welcome back to the live stream. So happy to have you with us today. Let's go back to the chat and read the next question. If you were reading this question by Artist in the Making, if you're a beginner, how to practice an advanced song like All of Me by John Legend. I'm not going to get too much into this because it is a difficult question. If you're trying to play something well above your level, you probably shouldn't, but you have some options. Option 1, just figure out what the melody of All of Me is, which is just the right hand part, and learn that. If you feel like you can learn that pretty easy, then try adding a few of the chords in here or there. I wouldn't try to get the full-on sheet music and play it right away. I wouldn't even try to get Synthesia to teach you the song with the bars that fly down, because that really is limiting you from learning future songs. So if you're really developing these skills and learning how to read this music, you're doing yourself a huge favor, even if you have to work yourself up to the songs you want. Now, like I said, there's some options. So 1 is pick out the melody. Number 2 is find an easier version of the song. If you are trying to learn the full version, chances are you can't do it if you're starting out in your first few weeks. So look for something a bit easier. So type in maybe All of Me, John Legend, easy piano sheet music. Now, with something popular like that, you're probably going to have to pay for your sheet music. But generally, maybe $3 to $5 is what I would pay. If it's a song you really want to learn, I'd say that it's worth it. Now, if it charges you any more than that, I wouldn't go for it. But you can look up online those, John Legend, easy piano, sheet music, and you should be able to find something, even if it is on a paid website. And then try learning that first. The third option you have is try learning it in an easier key. So if I don't quite recall with All of Me, but if you're trying to learn a song and it has a lot of sharps or flats in the beginning, and you don't even know what key signatures are all about, avoid that. Look for it in the key of C or the key of A minor, something with no sharps and no flats, so you don't have to drive yourself too crazy. So those are the three options you really have. I don't really have any secret method to learning something way harder than your current level. You'll either have to adjust one way or the other, or you will have to kind of just take your time and learn all the necessary things up to All of Me by John Legend. All right, let's go on to the next question. That was a good one. Let's take a look here. Hi, Tim. Is learning blues required the path towards jazz? Or can you just jump right into jazz? Thank you, by George. That's not a tricky question. The answer is blues isn't absolutely necessary to understand jazz. However, I recommend you do learn how to improvise on the blues, or learn how to at least play a blues riff, even if it is written out already. And the reason is because the blues uses a lot simpler chords than jazz generally does. With blues, you're generally talking about dominant sevenths. So a B flat, dominant seventh. I won't change the thing just for this, but if you look on your piano, it's B flat, D, F, A flat. So you basically play a major chord and then you play a note down from the octave. You can look up what dominant seventh chords are all about. So it's all dominant seventh chords pretty much in blues. And that's why we want to learn it first, because it's your first introduction into extended chords. Or I'm blanking on the other name for it. If you know the other name for it, leave it in the comments. But dissonant chords, there's another name for it though. But anyway, chords beyond your normal 3-note triad. So seventh chords is something you want to learn about if you don't already. But that's why blues is great, because it just introduces you to one type of seventh chord. Jazz has like 5 different types of seventh chords. You have your major seventh, dominant seventh, half diminished, fully diminished, and then you have your minor major seventh, which is a crazy jazz thing. And then you have ninth chords, flat ninth chords, sharp ninth chords, 11th chords, 13th, flat 13th, all kinds of different kinds of things that you have to worry about with jazz. So I would stick with blues in the beginning, get your feet wet playing a couple of rounds of blues, and then learn about jazz. So that's my answer on that one. Funny Day asks, do I recommend any piano chord dictionaries? There's a couple online that I think I could tell you about. Let me look these up. Actually, the website I am on right now, pianoscales.org. Let me show you. This website right here, pianoscales.org. This is where I looked up the minor pentatonic scale. If you go here, you can click on the kind of scale you want, like piano major scales, and it goes through and it shows you. It doesn't only tell you what the notes are, it tells you the fingering for each one, and it also highlights it on a visual piano, as you can see, what you should be playing. So that kind of makes it a little bit easier. Some things that are missing, 1 or 2 things, is 2-octave scales. I haven't looked around the website enough to see if they teach you 2-octave scales. So, but if you're just learning your scales and you want a reference sheet, this website is great. And I guess you could print out all the pages, although it'd probably make a pretty thick book. But that's what I recommend, pianoscales.org. Okay, Rich asks once again, Tim, do you have any tips on how to play relaxed and not stiff? My hands tense up at times. This is something I run across even still, although I am a bit more relaxed than I was when I was first learning piano, and especially playing for people. It used to make me really tense. So the key, I would say, to kind of build up into it is you want your whole body to be relaxed. Now, the one part of your body you do want to kind of be engaged is your core, your posture, your spine. Now, you don't want to be sitting up so straight that it's uncomfortable, but you want to be sitting up straight enough to where your spine isn't bending over. Whenever you're doing that, when you put your hands up, you're actually doing more work, and it's actually putting a lot of pressure on your spine, and then you will actually hurt after a half hour of playing like that, guaranteed. So if you want to practice for long periods of time, good posture. But other than that, you want your shoulders to be relaxed and at the side. You don't want them to be pointing up. I feel like that's a huge mistake a lot of people make. Even I make it if I'm nervous. My shoulders will kind of go up. I'm really tense. So you want your shoulders to be back and relaxed. You don't want to be forcing them back like you're pressing your shoulder blades together. You just want them kind of back and relaxed. And then you want your legs to be relaxed as well. So any tense in your tenseness, I guess, I don't know, tensity in any part of your body will translate to other parts of your body. So if your legs are all tense and your shoulders are tense, chances are your hands and arms will be tense as well. So you want to sit at the piano and practice sitting there and then saying, okay, I'm just going to release the muscles in my legs and my feet even. Now, obviously, you'll have to engage your muscles to use the pedal, but in general, very relaxed. All right, I'm going to now concentrate on my posture, a good posture, but relaxing my elbows back, but not to the point where I'm actually putting, strain on it and engaging my muscles that way. And then my arms too. Whenever, we've talked about this before, whenever you're trying to get weight out of the piano and sound out of the piano, you want a lot of it to come from dropping your arms, your arm weight. And to be able to do that properly, you have to be relaxed, and you have to be able to drop your arms down. Let me switch cameras really quick to show you a little better. Okay, so what I'm talking about is we're dropping this. I know I could have the angle a little bit better, but I don't have it set up that way right now. But anyway, you lift it up and you drop it. Your wrists should not be engaged. Like, they shouldn't be stiff, like you're about to lift weights. Obviously you don't want your wrist to be bending that way. You'll break your wrist probably. So you don't want them engaged like that. You want them actually kind of loose. But you also don't want them so limp that when you put your hands on the keys, let me show you this way, that your hand bends like that. But if you're sitting at the appropriate level above the piano, that shouldn't happen. Your hand should just naturally drop on the keys like that. And I guess other than that, just try to be aware of it. The more aware of it you are, the better. I mean, don't drive yourself crazy over it, but just every once in a while check in to see, all right, am I tensing up my wrists or anything? And it's really a habitual thing. So if you are in the habit of being able to relax your body, be at the proper posture and everything, distance above and away from the piano, it'll all become habit after a while, so it will become less and less of an issue. Like I said, now that I'm so many years beyond it, I had this problem maybe 10 years ago. Now that I'm so many years beyond it, I don't think about it too much anymore, but whenever I check in, I'm not really tense at all when I'm playing the piano, and that's just because I've developed those good habits. So it's all about, I think, correcting this issue is just checking in every once in a while. First of all, relaxing all the rest of your muscles, and then just while you're playing, thinking like, all right, am I tensing up? And then, maybe I should start that section again and just concentrate on being a little bit looser, a little bit more relaxed. All right, let's answer some more questions. Can I... Oh. What's this? Okay, can you see if this is a great beginner piano, Alessis Recital 88 key? I believe it is. I mean, I don't know how great it is, but I've heard other people say that it is good. Let me look this up really quick. Okay, somebody asked me about this before. Full size, this is the one with semi-weighted keys, I believe. There's also another version, the Coda Pro. This is Recital. So these have semi-weighted keys. If you go for the Coda Pro, in which case it's almost $500, I'd almost go for the Yamaha YPG 535 instead. By the way, if you check out the About Me page on the YouTube channel, you can find a list of links of different keyboards I recommend. But this one specifically, I half recommend. The benefits about it is it's cheap. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's cheap. $209.99, $210 is pretty cheap for a keyboard. You may be saying, well, that's pretty expensive. But keep in mind, you'll be playing on this for a while, hopefully. The downside, or the other upside, it has 88 keys, and they are semi-weighted, and it includes power supply, and I assume internal speakers, it looks like, and probably like a couple of bells and whistles, maybe a different couple of sounds. I'm not really sure. You'd have to look into that part. The downside to it is that they're semi-weighted, which from what I understand is instead of like having weights on balance, I don't know exactly how they do it. I'm not a piano technician. But these are springs from what I've read about this piano before. It looks like people like it though. If you look on the reviews, it is well rated. So if $210 is all you have, I'd say go for it. It's an 88 key keyboard. If you're a beginner, it will take you, quite far, I suppose. You could learn some pretty good stuff on there. You would want to upgrade though to full action, whatever it's called, hammer action keys, which is the next one down. Because they feel a lot more like a real piano. But for a beginner, sure, I'd say go for it. Okay, how about, let me switch back here. Okay, how about improvised accompaniment with other instruments? Well, that's, okay, so this thing, I'm going to go over this quick because this is a pretty tough question to answer with me just having a piano here. Let me bring it back to the piano. Boop. So, back here. So, as I was saying before, you have chords in your left hand while you play up and down the scale with your right hand. Well, the difference would be is you would do the same exact idea I told you. Play up and down the scale first. And maybe different rhythms to see what sounds good. Then play, a mixture of notes to see what sounds good there, and then combine notes like that. It works the exact same way if you are playing along with a band. So except that the band would be playing the chords down below. They might not be playing it just as chords. You might have the trumpets playing one note. I guess they'd be playing up here, but you'd have trumpets, trombones, and baritone maybe playing those three notes while you play up there, or some other kind of pattern of notes. It works the exact same way. So practice what I told you with the minor pentatonic scale, and that will apply if you ever play with a group. Okay, back to the chat. Thanks, says Artist in the Making. Thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, thank you. I know my sevenths. So if you know your sevenths, sure, go on to jazz because you'll learn about the ninths and everything like that. Do you have a handbook for sight reading? Sort of. I have some sight reading examples I can give you. Now, let me give you some tips along with these. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Belmont.edu. You can just copy the address that's up there. I know it's kind of long. But actually, if you type into Google, this is what I did. If you type in sight reading free piano, it will take you, it's like the first thing that usually pops up, at least for me. Might be because I've clicked on it, but look for belmont.edu. And then they have easy sight reading examples, 3 levels of intermediate, and 3 levels of advanced. This will keep you busy sight reading for quite a long time. Now, some general tips to go along with these. Number 1, you want to practice sight reading every single day. You want to learn maybe 1 to 2 examples a day, and you only want to play through the example. I would play through it twice. Some teachers tell me you only play through it once because after that it's not sight reading. But I would play it through once just to play through it, see how you do, and then 2 to go through it again and pick out your mistakes. Before you play the example, though, you want to scan the example. I'll show you what I mean. So here we go. So you want to scan the example for things like time signature, key signature, all those wonderful things. So we have 2-2 here. We have 1 flat, B flat, and then you look for any notes that might be sharp or flat in the middle of the song. Doesn't look like it. You look like, do I have any tricky rhythms or anything like that? And then you go through and you play the song or the example. So I'd maybe stick to 1 or 2 a day. And you want to go through all of these until you make it through the entire beginner and then all 3 levels of the intermediate and then the advanced, because they are in sequential order of what you should be learning. And I find that the ones listed on this website do an excellent job of that. So you want to learn these easy ones first, and then eventually you want to gradually increase the difficulty, which it does if you follow this. But that's the general tip on how to get better at sight reading. Start with things way below your level, or at least pretty easy around your level maybe, and then work your way up to things that are a bit more difficult. That's how you do it, though. So if you're trying to sight read something difficult right away, you're not going to be able to do it. At least you're not going to be able to do it effectively enough. So start out with the easier things. Once you get good with that, go to intermediate and then the advanced. So that's what I suggest you do for that one. All right, back to the chat. Okay. G. Alvarado, any tips for somebody who wants to play in a band? 1. Organize the band. Find out who is playing who and who is good at what. And then in terms of actually playing along with people, it's an experience you just have to get good at. One thing that will help get you off on the right foot is that if your band counts off the correct way, and you all agree on how you're going to count off before you begin playing. So if you're playing something in 4/4, you may be saying, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, play. And then we all come in. And then you all agree, all right, that's what we're going to do. And then you have one of your band members count that. And then at least you're starting at the right place. The other thing, other tips are use your ears. Don't just concentrate on your own playing. Actually, what you should do if you're playing in a band is be practicing your music on your own time, so that when you practice with a band, you can actually listen to them rather than just concentrating on what you're doing. If your music isn't practiced enough and you jump into a band, it actually just will not work out quite right. So listen and practice the music on your own, and then count off, so you're all beginning together. All right, let me move on to this next question. That was a good question. Tim, what sequence, says Bruce, to what sequence in your online lessons should a beginner follow? So great question. I assume you're talking about the lessons over on my website. Let me show everybody what Bruce is talking about, if that is what you're talking about. Bruce, I believe it is, because I believe I've seen your name. Let's take a look here. Although I could be wrong. There are a lot of people, which is a great thing that I come in contact with these days. Let's see. So if you go to pianolessonsontheweb.com, it'll take you to this page, my website. You can read about what this is all about. Let me give you the gist of it. So before I get into Bruce's question. So if you like the lessons I have over here on the YouTube channel, you're really going to like them over on my website, because it's the same instructional videos that you can expect from the YouTube channel, except it covers a lot more material that I won't cover for some time, and in some cases will never cover on the YouTube channel, because the YouTube channel is more geared towards beginners. There's stuff here for beginners too, but it actually takes you through the beginner stuff and takes you much further. In addition, you don't just get the instructional videos, you also get printable sheet music examples. A lot of them I've written myself, or I've found them, online, or they're excerpts of real songs. You also get real songs to play, brings me to the next thing. Actually, pretty much all of this is you can print it out and put it on your music stand, practice it, or you can even view it from a tablet. You also get assignments and, what else am I forgetting about? Online activities. You can actually read the list down here. Online activities. So it's the same kind of stuff from the YouTube channel you love, plus a lot more to enhance your learning. So whether you're a beginner wanting a nice review, or you're looking to learn way beyond what you can on the YouTube channel, that's what you want to do. But I don't want to get too far into that because I do want to actually answer this question. So if you go to the music courses page, and actually if you click on, it says course information. So this tells you like what you can generally expect from the courses, but if you scroll all the way down, first of all, I have the courses listed by beginners, intermediate, and advanced. If you follow them in the order they're listed right here, then you're going to do just fine if you do the courses in that order. Now, there's a course path and diagram. So this is the list I recommend. You can go out of order a little bit with this, but this is the list in which I really recommend you take the course. Here's a diagram to go along with this. This page is free, by the way. You can learn all about these courses and things like that. In terms of going through each course, so let's go to piano lessons, or from Introduction to Piano and Music here. Let me make sure that this is okay. It's appearing as, it's not a big deal. I don't want to give out the login to the website, though. It would just be for my account, and you wouldn't really be able to do anything. But, oh, hold on a second. Okay, give me a second, because I want to log in here. I don't want to totally mess this up. There we go. All right, so I logged in that box, and okay, I did it right. Here we go. Back to the website. Oh, I'll come back to you, PandaCraft. Sorry if I skipped your question. I'll come back to you. That tends to happen if I get a lot of questions. So anyway, you go to the Introduction to Piano Music. So you've enrolled in that course. You log in, and this is how you should go through it. I give you directions here on how to proceed. Now, as you can see here, there's an easy and then there's a speed setting. Like if you want to go through it real fast and you are good at the beginner stuff, then do that. But you basically want to be going through a unit per week, or maybe every 2 weeks or so. So, maybe on the first day you want to watch the concepts video and watch the playing examples video, and then get started practicing the playing examples. And then you want to practice all that for every day for 1 week. So you get the really full experience of playing the playing examples. Because in music, you don't want to just learn things. You want to master them as much as possible. You'll find later on, as you find harder and harder examples, you could be better off just moving on, like rather than pulling your hair out trying to master examples. But so long as you feel like you're proficient at the example, play beginning to end fairly smoothly with fairly few mistakes, I think you can move on to the next thing. But anyway, you want to spend about a week on each unit, and then once you do unit 1, proceed to unit 2. If you feel like it's going too fast, then you can spend 2 weeks on each unit. And if you feel like you can breeze through it, I don't recommend it, but you can go through them a little faster if you want. But of course, you want to take them in sequence: unit 1, unit 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's usually an extra unit, unit 6, at the end, where you can practice music related to what we're talking about in that course. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know. Let me come back to Panda's question. So hold on. Okay, PandaCraft Gaming says, can I play Mia and Sebastian's theme from La La Land? So I don't know what that is, unfortunately. So unfortunately, no. I'm sure if I looked at the sheet music, I might be able to play it, but I am not familiar with that. Sorry for skipping your question. And if I skipped anybody else's question, let me know. There's just a lot of questions coming in, which is amazing. Let's take a look here. Dakan says hello. Okay, hold on. Okay, G. Alvarado says, how do you learn to improvise really good? So I covered this earlier on in the live stream, but I'll go over it again really quick. By doing it every day. First of all, you want to pick a scale you want to improvise off of. The pentatonic scale we were looking at earlier, once the recording's posted, you can look back at it. You can't, pentatonic scale is always good to do, and you want to be able to play the scale beginning to end. You get really good at the scale, and then practice playing the scale out of order and seeing if you can come up with interesting patterns there, and then putting chords with it on the bottom. The best way to get good at this is to practice it every single day. It sounds kind of dumb, and you're like, well, why can't you give me more information? It's because improvisation comes from the heart. So a lot of the best things you're going to come up with, you're going to come up with on your own. I can show you what I do, but that's not really improv, is it? I mean, you can, it kind of is, because with improv, you borrow ideas that you see and hear and make it your own. But I feel like that I got the best at improv by practicing it every day. I remember the first time I learned B-flat blues, my teacher, who I was learning from before I went to college, taught me the general gist of how to play the B-flat blues. But in terms of like getting good at it, that was something that I did on my own. I practiced it every day, and then I came up with different patterns each, after every few weeks, I'd be like, oh wow, this sounds really cool. And then I added it in, and then I kind of put it in my memory bank to use later on. Okay, next one. Okay, Fuddy Duddy says, are the keys not more narrow or smaller on the Alessa? So if somebody could look that up for me really quick, to confirm, I believe they're the same size. I don't know. I don't want to give you bad information. If you look up it up on Amazon and look through the reviews, a lot of times there will be a question and answer thing where people who own the piano will answer questions about it. A lot of times you can find the answers there. But if somebody wants to confirm for me, I can bring it up on the stream here. Thanks, Tim says, Rich, you're very welcome. Dakan says, heart, 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 heart. Make sure I got that many hearts. Heart, 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 heart. Got them. All right, 4 hearts. Is there any piano concept that you haven't been able to understand or master, even with all your knowledge? Not really. Not recently, though. I mean, before I knew what I knew now, yeah, there was a lot of stuff I read about that I was like, oh, this is way over, out of my league. That's why I always say the more you learn about music and piano, the more you can actually understand, because you have more tools in your toolbox to find that. But I find that in recent days and years, I find less and less that I just can't understand. So that will go away after time if that's something you're experiencing. Okay, Alan says, I have a recital and also Coda Pro. I really like them both. Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing, Alan. That's really helpful, because I not only from the question I have earlier, I had other students in the comments asking me about that one as well. So that's terrific. Can you comment on to whether they are full size? Maybe you did further on in the chat. I haven't seen it yet. Just let me know. Okay, do you use metronome in any of your lessons? Yes. Do you mean like any of my lessons on my website? Yes. The Easy Rhythm, there's a course called Easy Rhythm. That's a good one. Anybody, by the way, if you're interested in signing up for the courses on my website, if you use the code YouTube, you can get 15% off any order. Now, let's see. Metronome, the 3 rhythm courses I have use the metronome in them, and I actually give some instruction on how to use the metronome. In some of the courses later on, you'll find that there's like a little paragraph that says, oh, if you want to master this example, practice it with the metronome, and then I give you some general instructions on there. Other than that, I feel like I've mentioned it a few other times in the other videos, but I can't tell you, but I could tell you like specifically. I could tell you specifically here that you want to check out the 3 rhythm courses that I have on the website. I think I've even mentioned it in the course Rhythm Trainer as well, which is a new course. Okay, let's see here. Well, let's see, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Donald Burdick says, when you play in different keys, do you think of the shape, or are you thinking of the notes that are sharp and flat? I'm thinking of the notes that are sharp and flat, but I'm also thinking of how those are laid out on the piano. So before I play a song, I don't do this as much anymore because I'm very familiar with my keys, but if you're a beginner or even intermediate or even advanced, I would still do this. Before you play a song, I would play the scale of the song, because, or the scale that of whatever key the song is in. And the idea behind that is that maps out from beginning to end what that key looks like, where the sharps are. So if I'm in G major, I know that I have an F sharp, everywhere. So I have to look out for that in the sheet music as well. So that answers that one. Stilarm says, thanks, Tim. I don't even remember what I answered for you, but you're very welcome. There's been so many questions. The Beast. I have a tip that has helped me. I practice contrary motion. Okay. Wait, what did the Beast say? Oh, the Beast. I missed your question. Any tips for using both hands together to play different parts at once? Rich's was good. Play contrary scales together to play different parts at once. I would recommend picking this up. Look for Bach's Inventions. So you can probably find them online. Just look up Bach Invention Piano into Google, and then maybe you can find it for free. But if you have to pay for it, I'd say they're worth it. Start with the first one. And basically what these are is they are Bach's easier pieces, but they have counterpoint in them, meaning that you have melodies basically in the right hand and melodies in the left hand, and different ways the voices move, and they are very, very good at developing your hands. Now you have to be at a certain level to even begin them, but if you feel like you can tackle the first one, you can move on to the others as well. They have, like I said, they're very, very good at training your hands for that. So that's what I recommend. Sorry I missed your question, and sorry anybody else if I missed your question as well. Bruce says, thanks for the guidance. I hope that helped, Bruce. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, tim@lessonsontheweb.com. Kobe says, what are some books for a new pianist? Check out the adults. Let me link you to something. I have a link for you here, Kobe. Okay, so hold on, everybody. Okay, so Kobe, check out that that link I sent you. That is very good for the adult piano books that I recommend for beginners. Let's see here. Rich says, Tim, I have a tip for the class. Go for it, Rich. Let us know what it is, and I'll bring it up here in a minute. Let's see here. Abdullah says, what is a tritone substitution? Embellished diminished seventh turnaround. Oh, man. I'd have to re-look at what those are. Tritone substitution is, what is that? Let me look this up really quick. So what a tritone substitution is you are substituting the 5 chord in whatever progression you're doing. So a common progression in jazz is, if we're in C major, 2, which is a D minor 7th, the one listed here, 5, which would be a G7 chord, to 1. But instead, what we're doing is we're taking 2, we have 2 again, but instead of playing the 5 chord, the G7, what we're doing is we're taking the tritone of that and replacing with it. So what you do is you go up 5 notes from G, not from C, the key that you're in, but from the chord you're substituting. You go up 5 notes, you lower it a half step because that makes your tritone, and then build a dominant 7th chord on it, or a 7th chord on it, a D flat 7th chord as they have here. So it's going to be D, D flat 7, to C major, and it makes a very nice chromatic step down, and it sounds really, really nice. So that's what you're doing. You're substituting your 5 chord for a tritone above that, which is, I think, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 semitones, or 6 half steps up from there. All right, on to the next one. Hopefully the audio held out. All right, no fighting. Rich, I have a question. Can you become a, if I gave you permission, or if you say yes, can you become a moderator for me? Basically, if anybody gets too out of hand, I won't silence anybody yet, but if anybody gets too out of hand, I need somebody to moderate the comments, just in case. I'm not thinking there will be a problem, but just in case. All right, here we go. Okay, are we still here, or did the whole stream get caught up in... Yes, Tim, I can do it. All right, I'm going to... Okay, so it should say that you're now a moderator for the channel, Rich, so you should be able to ban people if they continue to fight with one another, or if they post rainbows and unicorns. I'm not sure. I think Jack's trolling us a bit, unfortunately. I don't usually mind trolling, but we are having a class, an education class here. So I do want to get back to the real question. So is there anybody's question I missed? That's actually what I'm going to do right now, is just go through and see if I've missed anybody's question. I'm going to delete this one. They're just silly. Can you pop K head? I can't do that on... I am not ignoring you, cats. Can I play Hedwig's theme on the piano? I can, but I don't have it by memory. Sorry about that. Okay, can I play Hot Cross Buns? I'm sure I can, Jack. All right, Rich, you know what to do. If you have any questions on how to do it, Rich, let me know. All right, perfect. You can also ban them. I give you permission to ban these guys just for this time. Timed out is good. That sounds good. Appropriate enough. We're trying to have a class here, so if you want to troll or whatever, go to a Minecraft channel or something like that. We're all trying to have a good discussion here. We were doing great until the audio cut out and they were getting trolls. But anyway, so any questions from any of the other students here tonight? I apologize for the little mishaps we've been having here in the last few minutes. So anybody's question I didn't get to, or anything you need clarified? If not, I think, we're at 9:01 actually, so we will begin to wrap it up, but let me know. So I'm going to just check around on a couple things while you get your questions in there, I'd be more than happy to help you out with those. Okay, let's see. Ode to Bandit says, why would you play certain chords? I understand how, but why a seventh instead of a ninth? Well, that's a pretty tricky question. That has to do with what kind of character you want the chord to have. So a seventh, depending on what type of seventh. Oh, Rich has like a cool like ratchet or whatever, or wrench. That's what they're called. That's his name. But anyway, depending on what type of seventh, gives you a different type of sound. Same thing with ninths. So a minor ninth, obviously, you know, sticks out a lot more. You know, a major ninth sounds really nice. An 11th has a certain sound to it. So it depends on the context of the song and what the composer was going for. Is this a class as Piano Lover? Yes, this is a class. You are a little bit late, but that's okay. Welcome to the live stream. Will I get a detention? No. Okay, no detentions for Piano Lover. Ododle. Okay, so anyway. What have I been doing for fun besides piano? Playing a little bit of gaming. Between all the crazy family stuff and this, I'm actually really trying to get back into the work on the channel, and I have been doing a pretty good job. Let's see. Bruce Anderson says, "How do I train fingers to memorize the spread in fingering?" Let me shoot you over another link here, Bruce. I have a question here for you. Let's take a look. Oh, one thing I want to tell everybody. Oh, any opinion? I haven't seen that. All right, anyway. All right, I lost my train of thought. So lots of things coming in. Okay, so one thing I want to tell you guys is that, first of all, I want to thank the supporters over on Patreon for making this live stream possible. So if you go to patreon.com/lessons on the web, you can learn more about that, especially Brian Fisher, who's a contributor at the $10 level. So check that out if you want. I just want to tell you about that. If you want to donate during the live stream right now, you can using the super chat feature. It's a little icon below the chat. If you want to know where it is, just ask, and I'd be more than happy to tell you, just to let you know about that, because it really, really does help. And actually, I am looking to expand things even much more than I've already done with the live streams and things like that. I have a lot of great ideas I want to put into place. So if you want to contribute, I'm just telling you that it's there. So we'll move on with the questions here. In my opinion, doing 7th chord arpeggios will help you. I played the arpeggios and I played the chord on its own to get my fingers. Okay, so he had a question about fingering that I want to get to. Okay, so check that out. Check out the link I sent you. It's the fingering guide on piano. I think it could explain it probably a bit better than I can right now, but Rich's suggestion is also very good as well. All right, we have a question here. Is there a way to do glissandos without basically breaking the skin on your hands? Let me talk about that. Because there is. You want to... Rich, you know what to do. All right, so anyway, you take your hand. I had a feeling about you, piano lover. take your hand and you want to press it on the note, and then you want your fingers to point in the direction that you're going. So if you're descending on the piano, you want to hit it here and then point your fingernails to shield them. I don't know if you could hear it on the microphone, but your fingernails are shielding you from damage to your skin. All right. Thank you very much, Rich. All right, so that answers that one. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up tonight. If you like the lesson, give it a thumbs up, smash that like button, let other students know that they can learn from this lesson as well. It was wonderful talking with everybody, minus a little bit of trolling that we had here or there, but hey, it's the internet. What are you going to do? We had a great discussion tonight. I really had a lot of fun answering your questions. I feel like we had a pretty good discussion going there for a good part of the live stream. If you're interested in attending more of these live streams, you want to again smash that bell. If you want to know where the bell is, it's next to the subscribe button, next to my name, and that basically turns on notifications so that YouTube will actually let you know when we're meeting. But if you do want to know the general times, not the general times, the specific times, they are Friday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you want to look up Eastern Standard Time relative to where you are. If you live in New York, you don't have to do a thing except show up at 8 p.m. But anyway, look that up, and that's when we meet. Fridays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's sometimes a daytime live stream, but like I've said before, I'm still coming up with a set time that we can have that. Okay, Bruce says, thanks, Tim. You're very welcome, Bruce. I apologize if I missed anybody's question. No need to apologize. Great stream, says Shin. Thank you very much. Thank you for your ideas, lesson, Tim. Really helpful ideas. I'm glad everybody liked it tonight. Like I said, we had a really good discussion. Let me bring us in here for a final thing. Thank you, Rich, for being my moderator tonight. I will leave you as moderator from now on. If you don't happen to attend the stream, I'll just make somebody else a moderator. I don't think it'll take you off of it, but I think whoever is planning on staying. Oh, allergies are here. Right on time. Anybody who's planning on staying throughout the live stream, I can make a moderator so long as they behave themselves. Okay, thanks everybody. It was a great lesson, and I'll check you out. When are we meeting again? I believe we're meeting next Friday, the 22nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, the 26th, I believe. Whatever date it is on Friday, that's when we're meeting again, and we're meeting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about dynamics, diving into the depths of dynamics. So we'll meet again and talk about that. So this has been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for being a part of our great community, and I will talk to you real soon.